Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do in this job is to disconnect your battery. You have your negative cable here and your positive cable here, which is your negative cable is your ground, obviously, and then your positive cable. So you're going to disconnect the negative cable first, and then the positive cable, and then you can move on to the battery harness right here. Okay, so to loosen the J hooks for the battery anchor cable, or battery tie, I guess, you need a 10 mil long socket. It's imperative that you use a long socket because you need enough clearance to bite down on the nut on the stem of the J hook. And then once you've gotten those loose, just simply turn the J hook until it comes free from the lower base anchor point, which you can see hopefully right there. You can see it moving. Just unhook it, and then the whole assembly should come right out. So simply just pull the one side out, and then you should have free access to pull the other side out like this, and then the whole assembly comes right out like so. Okay, so once you've gotten your J hooks and your negative cable and your positive battery cable out of the way, you simply, depending on the battery type, I guess, I have a factory Acura battery. Mine has some tabs on the side I can hook my fingers onto. It just simply should just lift right out of the way. Okay, so now that you've gotten your battery disconnected and pulled out of the way, the only thing you do just to get this plastic base tray piece out of the way, you just need some needle nose pliers to disconnect this battery clip, and that will get your negative cable out of the way, and then you can simply just lift it back up. Just remember when you're putting it back in that the driver's side portion goes here with the clip, and the higher side goes towards the engine. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out is that once you have your battery and battery tray removed, just the plastic portion, you don't actually need to remove the metal base plate. You can actually see the switches there. Now that's your switch B, the second one on the right. E is on top. You may be able to access it just by removing the resonator tube here. The problem is with the 22 mil socket, you need some clearance, and so it will be easier probably to take out the entire airbox assembly, which I'm about to do. But if you wanted to try it and save yourself some time, that's an option, at least to try anyways. Okay, so just before you can get to the anchor bolts for the airbox, there's three. So there's one down here, one over here by the fender, and then there's a third one that's hidden underneath this trim piece. So in order to get it out, just very gently pull up on the trim. There's 4 clips that need to come out. There's another one here, and then out it comes. Okay, pretty straightforward. Just make sure that you're gentle so you don't break any clips, and you should be good to go. Okay, so the side trim piece has to come out in order to access this one anchor bolt for the airbox that's hidden. And I just wanted to show the clips at the bottom. So you have one that sits back towards the windshield, and that clips on here in this little horseshoe clip there. And then you've got 1, 2, 3 more, so 4 in total, and all you have to do is just gently pull up on the trim piece and it should come right out. Okay, next, using a 10 mil socket, everybody's favorite 10 mil with a 3-inch extension and a hand ratchet, you need to remove the anchor bolts for the airbox. So you have one down, which will be behind the battery. This one is hidden under the trim piece, and then a third one at the back. And once you have that, then you're basically, with a few more disconnections, you're able to remove the airbox. Okay, so now that you have these 2 clips removed for the resonator tube, you're basically going to want to disconnect the intake tube that goes into the airbox down here, and that's just simply just wiggle it free, and it should come right out just like that. So it's just the two trim clips, which you can remove with a flathead screwdriver, or if you have a trim tool, it's 1, 2, and then that comes out, and then you just simply pry it loose from this rubber coupler here, and it should come right out. Then you can get on to removing the airbox. Okay, so now that you have the 3 anchor screws, 1, 2, the one that was under the side trim there, and then 1 behind the battery. So once you have the battery removed, you have access to that clip. You need to unclip the airbox, or sorry, the MAF sensor connector cable, and then you also need a Phillips head screwdriver to loosen the intake tube so that you can get the airbox free here. So once that's free, then you should be able to take it right out. Okay, so before you can remove your airbox, if you can see right down here, there's the wiring clip harness that has to come loose right in there. Right there. You'll also have to take out, sorry for the glare. Okay, so once we have the screws, the anchor screws removed for the airbox, you just need to pull this rubber collar down like so, and you're going to take your positive battery cable and just simply give it a push, and if you're patient, it should come right off. So you're just basically going to break it loose of these tabs right here. If you just give it a push, there's 2, one in the front and 1 underneath the back. Let's see if I can, if you can see it, yeah, right here. So my hand is kind of blocking, but right there. Okay, so in order to remove the positive battery cable, you have the 2 clips here, and you can see underneath the airbox, which I took off just so you can see it. That simply just basically pushes out. So you just have to be a little bit gentle, and if you're patient, you shouldn't have any trouble unclipping that. Okay, so now that we've gotten the battery and battery tray and the airbox assembly out of the way, you have really easy access to your 2 top oil pressure sensor switches. So all you're going to do is come down here and disconnect the 2 wire connectors, which will give you access with your 22mm socket. And you're just going to simply slip it over like so, and loosen it to remove the oil switch, and then you're going to replace it with your new one, and I will have a part number for you there as well. And then you're just going to replace everything back as you did it in reverse order. So connect your connectors, put your airbox assembly back in, put your battery tray and battery back in, and connect everything up, and you should be good to go. So one more thing before you go to crack it loose, just give it a little bit of penetrating oil. That might actually help just to get it loose, but it's fairly easy, and then once you've cracked it loose, you can unscrew it by hand like so. Another thing that's really important is that you either order a new crush washer or replace the crush washer, because the new switch will not come with a crush washer, so you'll either have to swap the existing one or replace it with a new one. Okay, so once you have your new switch installed, which I believe is set to 13 foot-pounds for the torque spec, you're just going to go ahead and connect everything back together and just reverse order and reinstall everything. Okay, and as you can see, that's your Honda part number. This is applicable for Hondas and Acuras in this application. So you just need to order these as necessary depending on the code you're throwing for your transmission code.